player in the LCS. You think they're good, but no one else realizes it.
Sneaky. In lane. Lol.
No, not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. How about you, Freak?
Who do I think is most underrated?
Yeah.
I actually am going to go with Hakuho. I think he's really good, and people are starting to realize.
No joke, that guy is the skill shot king.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I'm not even kidding.
He cannot miss Morg bindings.
Yeah, Morgana binding is usually like the easiest thing to dodge. Then you play against Hakuho, you're like, he's going to bind me. No problem.
Like, no.
It's max range. And then I juke, and just it hits me anyway. I'm just like, what is this guy?
We actually have a joke. Like, anytime anyone plays like Morg, we're just like, if you get hit by a binding, you're like, oh, is that Hakuho? Like, watch out.
Yeah, his Morg is so nasty. Great to hear from the NALCS Lounge yesterday. Hello and thank you for joining us for our final game of the weekend. A battle for second place as Cloud9 take on Clutch Gaming. I did not be expecting to say battle for second between those two teams, I don't think.
Yeah, a little bit surprising, right? People definitely underrating Clutch Gaming and coming into the season due to the association with Envy and Envy not getting close to second, but definitely made some improvements.
Well, time to pull up the starting lineup. Selecting blue side, it is Cloud9. In the top lane, Licorice. In the jungle, Spence Garrett. The mid laner, Jensen. Bot and the support, Sneaky and Smoothie. And of course, Coach Reapid.
And on the red side, it's Clutch Gaming. Up top is Solo. In the jungle, Lyra. Mid, Febivin. Bottom, Apollo. Support, Hakuo. The Morgana King. And Coach David Lim on stage with them.
The underrated Morgana King Hakuo. Well, while expectations were pretty low for how Solo would perform on this team, the top laner has far exceeded expectations and even had his carrying moments, especially in their win yesterday versus CLG.
Yeah, Solo, he won that final fight playing Sion, 36-second cooldown on his ultimate, played a very good frontline for the team, and good in the game overall. People now, you talked about it a little bit where you didn't expect them to be fighting for second, but a lot of people have been consistently underrating this team. A lot of it is in part due to the small margins that they have actually had in their victories. They haven't been blowing people out in a lot of the games. Some of them have gone very late, and they have had to be clutch, true to their name. Apollo stealing Barons or winning those late game team fights. But they are on that winning streak. People need to start respecting it because it's 5 games long now, and this could be the game to put them in number 2. Take it away from Cloud9. If they win this game, then you definitely have to start giving the credit.
Well, we heard it earlier, but on the NALCS Lounge stream, Sneaky did say Hakuo was the most underrated player in the league, which makes the matchup in the bot lane super interesting. We'll see what transpires here in draft, though, because it has been a little interesting for C9 in their loss yesterday. They maybe gave up a little too much, but Galio, the first ban, perhaps learning from some of the recent drafts. As Skarner banned by Clutch will do them a small favor.
Yep, pretty common band so far. These two teams, I want to go over Reaper in his drafts a little bit because recently, wondering about some of the power picks that have been given over. Right now, you mentioned the Galio and the Azir now coming through as well. It seems like he's towing the line a little bit more rather than being that guy where you always associate him coming up with the more creative answers to actually play into the super popular champions and step a little bit more outside the meta.
Yeah, Cloud9 do like to test themselves in some ways. Again, just making sure that they have everything going. Yeah. There's not an Azir banned by Cloud9, so kind of sticking to those meta picks. Clutch Gaming also taking one out, so making sure that that champion doesn't go over to Jensen. And we'll see what the final ban is here for Clutch. 10 seconds to ban something out. And Gangplank is going to be the standard here, so making sure Licorice doesn't get his hands on that one. Solo, though, will lose the pick as well as Sejuani, first pick for Cloud9.
Good pick off. Definitely a good front line here to start out with. Sejuani, everybody in love with the Aftershock. Charge right in and be able to play that no problem. If we're looking at the Clutch Gaming side, you start to turn your eyes a little bit towards the mid lane here with the extra little bit of focus that has gone down, but blocking in that Ornn early, it is a possible flex pick for Hakuo or Solo in the top side.
All right, let's see what happens here. I do like the shout out to Hakuo's support on it. Was pretty good, and I think still kind of underrated in that role as support. Barrister has been the gold standard, it feels like, for a lot of ADs, given that Kog'Maw has dropped himself out of the metagame thanks to the change to his W. Cloud9, though, just messing around with the last few picks. We'll see what they do want to take here in this next phase. Braum being hovered, been another popular support. I think if you want to play aggressive, that's kind of where you want to go to. And Cloud9 does seem like they're taking their time with these next few draft picks. Ooh, that's one that I want to see. I don't know if, I think everyone else would like to see it as well. Did get buffed recently, but I don't think on this patch, if memory serves. So gonna have to wait a week for that one, but we'll see. You never know what teams have been practicing. Instead, though, they'll let us down somewhat, and that is he's back there. He's having fun. Jensen not going to be playing Fiddlesticks. It will be Tristana instead.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's actually looking forward to 8.4 because there's so many big changes. Maybe even Jensen himself, as we see the mouse over there. But currently, we'll just sit in the standard meta here. Tristana picked up. Tristana Braum does have a lot of kill pressure in lane. You know, Braum Q into the passive stun. Tristana can rocket jump on them. So you always have to keep that in mind, as well as the very powerful level 1 invades that are possible with Sejuani, with Braum. And there it is.
He must have heard them.
Speak of the devil.
Morgana actually here for Haku. They played this lane already actually versus CLG. Had a real good time applying pressure in all innings. So nice to see a bit of a change up here, especially against the Braum. Morgana does have a good amount of value she can bring. Sejuani also adding a lot of CC. So it's Clutch with a nice first phase. Cloud9 I think are also happy with their picks. But top lane going to start to get targeted. Licorice has shown a big willingness to play some of the less standard champions. Alawi we have seen, and is going to get taken off the board here by Clutch. Kazik's going to join away from Lyra.
Yeah, definitely want to ban out a lot of the things that are going to beat up on Ornn. So it makes me, with the Alawi ban, think that they definitely want to have Solo on the top side playing that, especially since Morgana is typically going to be Hakuo's hands. You know, Febiven could have been playing at mid, but that's very unlikely.
Kind of interesting to think about this with the Rise ban away and Cloud9 with one more to go. We did already see the Fiora into the Ornn. I don't know Cloud9 have been playing it, but I do know that Fiora is Licorice's favorite champion. So we'll see if he does want to play it, if they have been practicing. Cloud9, though, just going to be thinking about his next few ban. Do they go again into Lyra? They do. Going to take Zac away from him, and it's 2 more jungle options taken off the board.
Yeah, pinching down on Lyra definitely has been successful for a lot of people because he's won a lot on the Skarner, but we're going to get a throwback here. Very exciting to see if Lyra can make Lee Sin work. Still on 8.3, so we still get to see possible tracker knives.
Yep.
I know a lot of Lee Sin players are very sad that the extra wards were removed for those possible ward hops, but Lyra definitely going to have those available to him. Let's see if he can get some early game off the ground then, because you know, bottom lane definitely is a possibility. Ornn is very good at setting up ganks as well, and that's something that Licorice is going to have to keep in mind when he picks up the Kled. Yep. Definitely one of the other good champions into Ornn, and he has definitely put in a lot of time on this champion. So we'll see how Lyra is able to get around this map.
Less dueling, but much more teamfight presence there. As top lane Kled locked in, we'll see what Cloud9 want to go for. It is Talia there for Jensen. Blind into whatever Clutch want to run, unless the Vivian is in fact on the mid Morgana train.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
That's true. I'm trying to just think about how this early game is going to go here, because there's a lot of possibilities in the bottom lane too. If indeed Hakuo never misses bindings, then that as well could be a very good setup, especially versus melee lane there. So last lock-in is going to be Corki, so for some more DPS later there for Clutch Gaming. Corki scales very well into the late game. You know, Trinity Force as well as crits coming through and then being converted to magic damage.
Forbidden has generally shown a pretty massive presence towards the late game style champions as well. His Azir was banned away, and I think rightfully so, but Corki has been another fallback for him this season. So certainly curious to see how Clutch can do, and I think really the big one is, yes, Apollo Hakuo a bit more of an aggressive lane, but still serviceable in those team fights. Good late game team fight damage from Corki, good late game team fight presence from Ornn. With Lyra pushed down, Lee Sin is that wild card, has a much different kind of tempo than a lot of the meta junglers.
Exactly. When Lee Sin is picked in 8.3 on this meta, then the game is a lot about what is this Lee Sin going to do? What is the value that he's going to be able to make from this champion? Because so much of Lee Sin's kit is about allowing you to make decisions and capitalize on those decisions. You know, he's got extra mobility and possibility of early playmaking and early power, but if you don't, and you just kind of farm even with Sejuani, then in the late game, they've got a tanky Sejuani, and you've got a kickbot, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, Lyra is incredibly accurate with the late game kicks, so can't count him out there. But you're right, as far as total presence and utility goes, not great around the 40-minute mark. So we'll see what happens here. Lyra with a throwback, but it might be the best time for it, as the battle for second between Clutch and Cloud9 is about to begin.
And of course, he is going Electrocute on that Lee Sin for the burst damage. Really wants to take advantage of the early power that's possible. You can go for super big early trades. Trying to capitalize on any sort of extra vision they get. So we'll see if there is some sort of invade, because while we mentioned, oh, Braum, Tristana, Sejuani, they're all great level 1. You know, Morgana Binding is a possibility that you could level up early if you really needed to in the invades. But typically, Tormented Soil will be taken.
Certainly one of the better level 1 spells, probably just under Blitzcrank Hook, which we already saw today, thanks to Aphromoo and the 100 Thieves. But here in our final match, actually, of the week.
All right, Hakuo skilled up Binding.
He's ready for it.
See if he sees anyone.
All right, if he misses one, I think that means the sneaky Mikios are wrong, right? That's how this works?
Yeah, you missed one, your reputation is ruined.
All right.
Especially level 1.
Observer's going to have to be very careful then when exactly they show Morgana on screen, as Jensen and Forbidden doing a bit of a stand.
I'm pulling out some paper here. I'm going to keep track of every binding that I see thrown, and I will track his accuracy this game. Oh, no! 0 for 1. Okay.
All right, well, at least the rip-off start here.
You might have to remind me in these team fights, Pastry. Give me a recount after the
all right. I'll make sure to hit them very, very hard in the commentary. Sven gonna have an easy take here. A bit of help from Sneaky and Smoothie, but Sejuani does blitz through the jungle. Lee Sin, though, also not bad. They were gonna go red to Raptors here.
Yeah, a lot of junglers will go Raptors at least second camp, because you want to get your Raptor camp respawning quickly as well, since it has the most gold and experience of these small camps for you to find. And it is a lot about those timings. Most junglers in the competitive level are going to organize their routes around either their Raptors or stealing enemy Raptors. And both of them do actually have a little bit of vision and should be able to know the respawn timers. Lyra's going for a possible topside camp here. Did pull off and go to do the Krugs for level 3, but he would still have another option to gank on the top side. And part of the reason why he didn't go for the gank there and went for the Krugs instead is because there was a double built wave. You don't want to gank this early in the game for your laner if you're going to have to fight into 2 stacks of ranged minions. Because even in the 2 versus 1, it does get dangerous.
All right, my due diligence has been done. 1 for 4 currently for Hakuo. We get those last use. Licorice, though, leaning aggressively up into solo, trying to use that early aggression on the Kled. But Sven and Lyra are here in the area. Sven trying to check. Not going to see Lyra just yet. Almost lining up a dive, but now Lyra's been spotted. Licorice going to have to run towards his jungler, empowered by the Permafrost. Maybe just going to turn it back around. Bear Trap doesn't quite drag one back. Licorice still mounted.
Yeah, you have to be very careful in those situations. And oftentimes, you'll want to focus the jungler regardless of side, because the jungler's a little bit squishier early on, and they have those very valuable buffs. Oh no, another one.
1 for 5.
1 for 5. Bear witness.
Well, again, at least the pull's getting the harassment down. Sneaky Smoothie getting aggressive. Smoothie misses his own skill shot. Oh, there's one. 2 for 6. As Smoothie takes some damage in the trade. Solo trying to dismount Licorice, does so successfully. Bishop, I think, actually stayed up for a little while longer. Almost a rebound from Licorice. Does grab it. Ignite from Solo, not enough. That was so close.
You gotta be a little crazy to play Kled, because he's flirting with the edge of disaster there. Solo on Ornn, bringing the Ignite since he has a Spellbook. Almost gets the kill before the remount comes in, but that's when the Kled type's not even close.
Yeah, and Forbidden also taking damage from Jensen. Wonderfully lined up W to knock him back into the rocks. Forbidden struggling a bit here in the matchup, but farming nicely despite the harassment. Licorice and Solo again at it once more, but Licorice is very stubborn right now. Does not want to leave if he doesn't have to. I think finally will have to leave, though.
Yeah, he has teleport, so he can get right back here in time for this cannon minion wave. Oftentimes, back here for the cannon minion wave, you won't lose out too much since it takes so long for it to die, but he's not even going to let it get to the turret. And since Solo did use the Ignite in lane, he can't switch that one out for an easy teleport back, but Ornn gets to build his own items anyways, and it's not too hurt right now, so it should be okay.
Aggressive boy there from Licorice, keeping back onto the minion, didn't want to miss anything. He does have 2 longswords, showing that refillable potion.
Yeah, he's trying to squeeze out as much pressure and control as he can on the top side as possible. That's why he was staying around so long before having to actually pull the trigger and go for the recall there. He's got this wave in a perfect position. Really good job by Licorice getting this big CS lead. Now we're seeing a jungle invade though.
Nice
with
here.
Garen.
Jensen and Sven teaming up. Are going to take down a decent amount of these, but Lyra fighting for the big one. That's the big prize. Who's going to grab it? Not Lyra by the looks of things. Sven zones him off and takes down the Raptor. Bear Trap pulling Solo back in. Licorice trying to take those trades.
Yeah, and he's trying to still keep the wave right here. That's why Solo also not going for it back. Doesn't want to get out of EXP range, but because of the good play from Licorice, they set him up.
Yep, gets it back in again. Oh, the flash is good, but no! Pull back from Bear Trap on a rope. Kill's going to go over. Licorice grabs first blood.
That's why they teach wave management so early on in top lane class. Licorice is able to have so much control for so long. They keep Solo in a very bad spot. And not only does he get a big CS lead, but they also are able to call a jungler. So when Scarin comes over, they capitalize on the kill. And this is going to be a scary Kled. What can Lyra do here, though? Because the least
surprise!
is supposed to be the one.
Smoothie finds Lyra. Binding does hit. Hakuo goes through the Unbreakable. Not going to do too much damage. Apollo with the poke trying to find it, but not enough there despite the presence of Lyra in the bot lane.
All right, Lyra farms up some Krubs, but that is about it. Sven Scarin on the Sejuani. Bigger impact, bigger farm, and better scaling champ as well. So, again, Solo's so frustrated here because Licorice kept his wave there for like 3 waves. And he's trying to stick around for experience range, but afterwards, Bear Trap on a rope, works on Ornn as well, and Licorice is able to pull him right back in. Nice kill for the top side. This is going to get very scary on the top side. You know, Ornn still is going to have that teamfight effectiveness you talked about, but since they're playing it into a Braum as well, he also has to worry about the Unbreakable taking away his biggest impact.
Yeah, and this has been, in some ways, Solo's identity, really not doing too well in lane, but scaling very well into team fights where he has shown a lot of prowess. But this is pressure that a lot of top laners have not withstood. Licorice has been really good at snowballing lanes, especially with the help of his team. And with the Tiamat done, he's going to retake some of these trades. Bear Trap hits again. Solo pulled back. Licorice looking to make it a solo kill on the Solo himself. Lyra already here. Might turn it back around, but Sven Scarin going to ruin the party. Licorice rebounds! Gets a double kill in top lane!
And that boy is good. All right, rookie of the split here for Licorice. We're giving him out already.
That's it, over.
He did get the counter pick, yeah, you know, Kled into Ornn, but the way that he played the waves as well as Sven Scarin's timely arrival there allows him to remount just on the edge once again. And it's just so tilting to play against this champion because you have him so low. If there was just a little bit, one more second, if that stun from Sejuani hadn't come in, they probably could have finished him off before the remount, and it'd be a completely different story for Clutch Gaming. But as it stands, Cloud9 with a very sizable lead. This is now a 3-kill led Kled, who also is going to be able to continue to pressure the turret.
And again, the total topside power of C9 cannot be understated at this point of the game, but let's watch this magic again, Kobe.
All right, so at this point, he's already ahead, and he's just trying to abuse the lead that he has. So even into the big wave, he's taking the trade, spamming out your Bear Trap on a rope. You keep him in range, keep pulling him back in. And even though Lyra is headed up here, Sven Scarin also was called. As soon as Licorice starts going for that super long trade, junglers need to go, you know, to that action because top lane is so volatile. Yeah, exactly. That's the frustration we're talking about. Playing against Kled, incredibly tilting.
Somebody gift that. That's the face when you play against Kled.
That's actually perfect.
All right, Smoothie cleanses out. Hello, Spellbook. Surprising there, but actually works nicely as Hakuo and Apollo do look for the pressure.
That's why I keep replaying that over and over. That is pretty unlucky as far as top laner life goes. That's kind of what he has to deal with, you know? And now it's just going to get worse from that point on. At this point, it's risky for Lyra to ever go up there, and you kind of have to abandon the top lane.
Yeah, actually, Licorice already has the turret, so he's going to get pulled back in again. Here's the call of the Forge God. Licorice going to try and dance around it. Oh my god, that ult was so sick from Licorice. Going to pull Solo back in. Solo kill forthcoming. He does have his flash for Licorice, diving under every single turret.
we're at the crowd speak for that one. Pretty well played by Licorice. Jensen on the invade, though, is getting chased out, and Lyra wants to kill him.
We've been chasing in. Sven's game, where are you? Not there, but not needed. Bat signal went up, but Sven not in the area. Still, Jensen able to get out of that one with his summoners intact.
Yeah, I think just at the very end of it, Svenskeren shows on this deep ward in the red quadrant, but before that, they didn't know where he was. Bottom lane!
Aggression, Black Shield onto Hakuo, but the damage is just too much. Glacial Fissure finds enough. Sneaky hops his way back out to safety, but Hakuo is going to go down here. Sneaky able to get a kill. 2v2 in the bot lane.
And more to the party. Bottom lane continues.
Jensen ready with a wall, cuts off Apollo's escape. He does have his flash, but it's not going to matter. Stunned forever. Jensen naps the kill. C9 starting to explode across the map.
Turret also going to explode very effectively here as Sneaky on Tristana going to be able to detonate that one. And Cloud9 with a huge advantage in this game, completely sweeping the map. It's not just top lane that's a problem for Clutch Gaming anymore. It is the entire early game.
And first turret gold goes over, split between 4 on Cloud9. I think 3 actually with Sneaky and Jensen with his proximity, but I'll stop talking. Let's watch this again.
Yeah, Solo having a bad time here as this is a very fed Kled. Uses the ultimate right there, unstoppable. Also is able to interrupt him so he doesn't get the second activation off. Sidesteps right there to continue. Doesn't even need to though, has plenty of health as well as possible remount. And there you go. Where's the eye roll one more time? Because this is now a 2-level lead for Licorice. 4 kills to his name and upwards of 30 CS.
Yeah, actually 40 pretty much. As Licorice will return to a lane to farm it out. Actually going to start off the Rift Herald here, knowing again that they have full control of the top side of the map. Ben and Licorice should be able to team up and take this down. 2 turrets down already, with Licorice actually nabbing Solo first turret gold in top after that play. Spot just got taken in the 4-man, and mid is going to be an obvious vulnerable spot. I think Jensen's already done some work, and Sven's going to zip over.
All right, now it gets really difficult for Clutch Gaming because the wards have started to move into their jungle. They don't have a lot of safety to work off of. And even though we haven't seen too much of Jensen, this is Talia, and they're about to take down the mid turret, so he'll have a lot of room to work with.
Yep, Rift Herald gets spawned. Nice timing here from C9. Going to threaten onto Forbidden. And just Shelly going to be able to take this one down. Sven tanks on what he can. Not enough damage, actually, but going to stick around for the last few shots and collect some of that gold. Forbidden knows he can't do anything, has a chuckle, and tries to take down the Herald as Sven looking to re-invade. Spots Lyra warding up as he wards up that wolf camp. Licorice is solo invading and taking red buff, though. The problems are increasing as Hakuo does land that binding. Pops the ulti there as well. Kickback from Lyra. Should be able to catch out Sven. Apollo lands at Jensen now. Caught a little too far forward, but Hakuo, he's going to be the next target. Jensen able to get that as Licorice rams on in with the Kled. Good ult, though, from Solo. Defends that next tower dive.
Yeah, decent little pick there for Clutch Gaming. If they trade 1-for-1, that's not a problem for them. They'd like to get some sort of, not only gold trade, but also it relieves a bit of the pressure having taken Svenskeren off of the map for a little bit. So Lyra tries to clear out some of the vision, and they get to farm up their lanes a little bit. Breathing room is all you can really hope for at these stages, so they're definitely happy to have that little exchange.
Fortunately, gold is still counting up. 6,000 gold ahead for C9, so we'll watch this again.
Yeah, Lyra gets found here at the Raptor, but Hakuo lands one of his classic Morgana bindings here. He's going to pay for it with his life as the answer kill comes in afterwards. And Sneaky's going to help Jensen finish that one off. But they did get the trade, and now this is going to be a Mountain Dragon for Cloud9 as well.
Able to take it down. First strike of the game over to C9. And given the pace of this game so far with the outer ring already felled at just under 14 minutes, should be able to make these tier 2 takes a lot simpler as Licorice is just recklessly pushing here in the top lane, which I can't really blame him for. Already had the Black Cleaver.
Now you're like, it was reckless early on, maybe if you're getting like 20 HP away from your remount. But now that he's so fed, you're like, okay, you can...
he's so fed, now it's just good play, Kobe.
Yeah, you can go pretty deep. What's your personal most tilting champion to play against? Because there are a lot of mechanics that people do complain about. The Kled remount is definitely one of them, and we can see the eye roll. What would be Pastry's eye roll champion?
It's not a mechanic thing necessarily, but I cannot stand playing against Vayne.
Vayne?
I can't play her. I've never been able to, and
the true invisibility. I've heard a lot of people complaining about the reworks to invisibility, where you can't reveal with pink wards or anything anymore. Jensen, though, he's going to have to walk into a binding.
Oh,
that's
a hit. Damage back in, though. Still the ult comboing through. Easy pickup for Apollo. There's 4 collapse there from CG. Oh, don't worry, Kobe. I'm still counting. We're at 5 of 10 right now.
Oh, nice.
On camera binding. I'll never let you down. Licorice flashing up. Blasco's not there. I think Apollo actually hit it. Maybe Licorice tried to flash past it, but he's going to ult Lyris, though. Still tags him. Black Shield on as well to make it a bit easier. Looks for the remount. Damage is massive, though, from the Kled. Forbidden still here. Licorice at the remount. Not close enough. Apollo grabs a shutdown.
Clutch Gaming still fighting here. They're finding some scrappy kills. They are giving up bottom area of the map, but Cloud9 pushing in and taking down the turret while they get the counter kills. 2 picks is pretty decent for Clutch, though. They're happy to get some amount of gold for themselves to work with. Cloud9, though, still trudging forward to take down another objective and add some more territory to work with. You can see all the wards now that they do have inside both sides of the jungle.
Well, looking good so far. Clutch do get some stuff back, but still far behind. As again, they're just trying to prevent Cloud9 from rolling this snowball down any further. Jensen able to clear these waves out. Everyone approaching some pretty important item breakpoint. Sneaky almost at 2, as we'll check this again.
Doink gets it right in the head with a binding, and from there, Apollo follows up with the Varus ultimate. Pretty easy with DPS from 4 people around. Then Licorice actually doesn't go for the Blast Cone, and that's why Lyra is able to get him with the kickback. Apollo finishes the Blast Cone off during the flash here, and then with the collapse inside enemy territory, this is where the chase ensues. Nobody's around to help because there are 3 members of Cloud9 you can see on the mini-map who are taking that objective. So during the chase, while Clutch Gaming happy to get some sort of gold for themselves, again, another turret did fall.
Well, game's going to settle down just a little, but likely not for too much longer. Licorice working on the bot side as he's almost at the 2 item point. T4 stun for Forbidden, but Cloud9 looking to get aggressive here onto the top tier 2. Nice chunk of damage there by Sneaky, and Jensen's going to cut one off. It's Solo left in the wall. I did not know that worked that way. Solo busts his way out, but turret's still going down.
Yeah, one of the fun things about Ornn, breaking the champion-made terrain. Licorice also pushing that wave up all the way to the turret. So Cloud9, again, even though they got picked off two people inside the enemy jungle there, they're right back to their checklist. Focusing on the turrets, you could see the assist pings went down immediately from them after they died. They take down top, they push up the bottom as well, so mid-secondary is the only one left, and now they're looking for maybe a Sejuani ult to pick anyone getting close to the red buff.
Yep, all that vision, though, swept out by C9, gives them control around the red buff. Sneaky going to be the one to receive such a generous donation. Again, Clutch is trying to wave clear it out. Licorice still pressuring 1v1, both tops with TP. As that long lane in top is a lot of darkness for Clutch to try and work against. Even Licorice able to keep that control ward up and clean it out. And again, this wards keep dropping in the jungle of Clutch.
Yep, that is dangerous territory for them to sneak into. A lot of crowd control on Cloud9, and now they actually want to use it on Forbidden.
Nice play, no cleanse here. Stun going to follow up. No, the flash is good. Glacial Vision, though, able to follow. Needs a little bit more. Jensen just bursts him down. Solo looking for an ulti angle. Does find it on the Smoothie, who cleanses again. Forced to flash out of the way. Chain of Corruption is not quite there. I think that's what Smoothie shook off from Apollo. And Cloud9 dive and get the kill.
Yeah, and they already had dropped tower aggro, so they were able to get right back out with no traded life. 5v4 now. Fed team knocking at your doors. It's going to be rough for Clutch Gaming.
Again with the Mountain Drake, able to take down this turret pretty simply. Next one is up in a minute 5 if C9 do want to snowball that particular objective. Looks like they'll back up and reset for it now. Everyone again just backing off, but going to be A-OK. Cloud9 able to safely recall. And Sneaky now with Infinity Edge completed. Most major items are done on the side of C9, even though Clutch are doing okay. And watch this dive again. Again, Forbidden with no cleanse. Can't really do anything. Yeah,
they're able to hit him with the Sejuani ultimate. Nice one from Senskaren there. He takes the turret you can see on the bottom, which is the important part, until the kill finishes, then goes out of turret range. So no one else got it during the re-engage from Clutch, and they're all able to escape with their lives. Another Mountain Drake up in 20-something seconds. Should be easy for Cloud9 to take, and with 2, then you even turn your eyes towards Baron, because even though it's hasn't spawned yet, 30 seconds away, and double mountains. With this far of a lead, you got to expect Cloud9 are looking to end this one early.
Yeah, and the gold differentials are just getting a little out of hand. Cloud9 are approaching 9,000 gold ahead with pretty much complete control of the map. Again, Mountain should be theirs for the taking. Licorice already there after pressuring the bot side with that Titanic Hydra. And maybe even some big double play as Sneaky and Smoothie at least going toward the Baron as it spawns.
Yeah, I mean, Clutch Gaming, at least they've been able to get a lot of vision out on the map so they can make decent choices here. It's going to be rough for them to actually pull off the fight since they are so far behind in gold, but at least it will be an informed fight, and they won't have to be rushing into darkness. Yes, Cloud9 is probably going to move in and close, clear out most of that vision, but at least they've laid the groundwork.
Yeah, certainly have to do your due diligence and put your defensive vision down to get your farm safely to scale up to the late game where Clutch have looked very good. C9 though have been pretty good at snowballing games. Going to spot a few there. Svenskeren doesn't pull the trigger on the ult just yet. Lyra, though, the next target. Immune, though, with the black shield, able to hop to safety. Cloud9, again, just doing the same thing they've already done. They got top tier 2 off this play. Now Baron is the real threat with those 2 mountains finished.
And Licorice on the bottom side there, you can still see him pushing up the minions. Oh, Ornn ultimate mid.
Give us something here. Finds Jensen, actually. Finding connects, and Forbidden collects one. Jensen has been in some silly spots this game.
Yeah, and Clutch are punishing him well. They jump on any opportunity that has exposed itself. Very necessary for them to do at this stage in the game. And again, they buy themselves a little bit more room.
Well, Licorice still waiting around, hoping to find a straggler in the jungle. It is Lyra that he spots, but not able to move forward. C9 again just trying to keep the lanes pressured. With Jensen dead for 15 more seconds, they probably can't start the objective, but they will try and continue their pressure. Again, Sneaky and Smoothie just going to clear out these waves. Waiting for those respawns as Clutch. Try and build up towards really their next few items. They've got 1, but really need 2 given how far ahead Cloud9 are.
Yeah. All right, let's take another look at how Jensen... Oh, okay. So it's a flash for flash, but a really nice Ornn ultimate from Solo. Just barely tagged him on the first pass through to get that slow and allow him to hit the second one to finish up the kill. Otherwise, it would have been a flash to flash there with Apollo and Jensen trading. So nice pickup. Still able to add, even though it was a frustrating early game.
Yeah, back out on the map, though, and Cloud9 once more looking at that big prize of the Baron. Do have some wards to clear out. Smoothie going to pop that first sweeper. Licorice and Solo fighting. As a reminder, this is not a particularly fair fight. Forbidden going to make it unfair, though. Licorice has his ulti and his flash. Should be able to get away from this pretty easily. Cloud9 drawing the pressure they want towards that bot side of the map.
Yeah. And Forbidden, as you said, still trying to farm to his second item, that Infinity Edge. You build your Infinity Edge on top of the Dreamforce, and then you hope you get some lucky crits in a row for themselves, and that is a possibility for them trying to get back in, through one of these team fights. Otherwise, it's going to have to be some good bindings from Hakuo / ultimates from Apollo to pick people off. And the Ornn ultimate follow-up that we just saw is how Clutch are going to try and get some territory back for themselves. Currently, they know they really would love to have this mid turret down, but it's a very dangerous point for them to extend themselves past halfway through the mid of the map.
Yeah, Clutch have shown, again, some strong positioning in the late game and ability to win those team fights, but they've also gotten there pretty well. Their defensive play has been pretty admirable this game. They're putting down that vision, not overextending themselves, even in spots where you kind of look at that low turret in mid and think, oh, this is gold we can get. This is a really important point of the map, but Cloud9 know that eventually the map kind of had to break in. With this advantage, they will start Baron for the first time, spotted by a blue trinket, but that's going to get turned off by the control ward.
Yeah, Smoothie's still over on this side, too. He can put up the Unbreakable to help protect.
Steals that Blasco, and Lyra maybe looking for the steal, doesn't grab it. Instead, it's Sven that gets it. Lyra also going down.
Ooh, was close. Lyra had a decent shot at trying to steal that away with a smite, but Licorice is on the
Here comes Kled. Solo is there, but Apollo going to get pulled. Drag everybody flashing forward. Jensen with a flick back. Solo dies as well. 3 for 0 plus the Baron. Cloud9 straight to the mid.
Yeah, straight to the inhib and straight to the Nexus, probably. This is a Baroned up team with 3 kills already.
Certainly gonna try. Inhib will fall. 30 seconds till Solo. 20-ish to Apollo. C9 not done, like you said. Are gonna go for the throat here. Smoothie goes forward for Vivian, burns the package. Demolish stacking up. Turret 1's dead. 10 seconds to Apollo, 15 for Solo. Turret dead though again. C9 just able to play so far forward. They're too far ahead. Did not take that loss lightly yesterday. Hako dives in, goes down as a result. Jensen able to pick up that kill. The Nexus exposed. Everybody just diving towards Licorice. Gonna move in and last hit the Nexus. Cloud9 pick up their win.
What a game that was. The Kled pick into Ornn, top lane getting very active very early on with some, timely arrivals of Svenskeren specifically up on the top side. Really close remounts as well for Licorice, and they snowballed really, really heavily.
Yeah, again, we talked about the early game presence of Lee Sin kind of needing to be a factor in this game. Unfortunately for Lira, I don't think we can really blame him for not getting too much done because of how badly things went in the top lane so early on.
Yeah, you can always blame the jungler. If I've learned one thing, HP Time, in 10 years of playing League of Legends.
Well, I will not do that today as the teams shake hands. Cloud9 win the battle for second place, a decisive sub-25-minute win. They steamroll Clutch to collect second. While we're at it, though, I did do my best, Kobe, to count those bindings. I have 9 to 16 as on-camera bindings for Hakuo.
That's not 100%.
It's definitely not. I mean, we saw the first one miss, so that was completely out the window once we started our tally. I'm sure someone's going to tell me that, hey, I was counting. You were hilariously wrong on how many that was, but yeah. I did try.
I mean, over 50 is still quite good. But yeah, man, what an ending here, because people were wondering about Cloud9, how they're going to recover after yesterday, and they came back very strong.
Certainly so. Like I said, did not take that loss lightly. And I think apart from, again, Licorice looking good, that top side really just did all that work. Yes, Jensen maybe had some moments where he shouldn't have been in those places, but hey, he still applied the pressure and gave Sven those openings. But for more on that C9 win, let's send it over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Well, if you're looking to rebound off of 2 losses, that's the way you want to do it there for Cloud9. Just going off in the top lane and Licorice off to the races, essentially, this time around. Again, in the wake of the beating he took on the Lucian pick, suffering a loss yesterday. This is a great bounce back.
Yeah, and breaking the winning streak of Clutch Gaming as well. Going back to a carry pick, back to the Kled, which no one else has played. He's played it once before this split. And then just destroying the tank pick up top lane with the help of his team, obviously, but that's what Cloud9's been best at this year.
Yeah, it was very surprising considering they felt like they did protect the Ornn pick kind of well with the Alawi and a couple other bands. And I was wondering what he was going to play, and then I saw the Kled lock in. I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. And then there was the Ignite that was super close to killing Licorice for a little bit, but then after that, it was all Licorice.
I mean, that was kind of the make or break point, right? You can see where if the kill comes through for the Ornn, he gets to that just unkillable state where he's out-tanking or outpacing the damage built by Licorice. Not the case, though.
And the big thing was, where that happened, it actually took his TP and the wave was frozen. So Licorice comes back at full HP, Solo can't do the same, and then he falls massively behind, and then the jungler starts coming up there as well.
Yeah, and that's like, at this point, the second or third super close moment where I think that kind of tilts Solo, both mentally and also just the fact that
eye roll.
His champion just now has no items, and Licorice has all of the items. So it's going to keep happening at that point afterwards, and Licorice did a great job playing around that advantage.
All right, before we hit the 15-minute mark, Licorice had individually a 3K gold lead over Solo. You want to talk about destroying your season average statistics for use?
I mean, he's happy with
but you've done it. You've done it. Both him and Solo.
He destroyed it in a good way. Solo, yeah.
Right, Solo's isn't looking so pretty anymore. Licorice has got a nice boost to those CSD averages.
Yeah, it was funny.
Goodness.
We got an overreaction tweet yesterday that was like, Solo's the new rookie of the split after his great game last week, and then, or yesterday. And I was like, yeah, that was an overreaction here. He got destroyed.
Very much so. But again, I mean, it's a tip of the hat to Licorice for the fact that the team keeps putting this kind of pressure on him in those carry matchups in the top lane, and he continues to perform. You know, with that, we came into the day saying, when will it be time to call Clutch, you know, officially a good team? When will they have convinced you two that they're definitively a top team? And you guys pointed directly to this
Practice
matchup,
game.
saying you beat C9, and we will say you're here. You've made it. And then they got crushed.
They did get crushed. And it can happen in best of ones, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's a chance that they could still just be and win all the rest of their games and have this be the aberration where their top laner fall behind. But with that being said, I feel a little vindicated about the things I've been saying with Clutch. They haven't necessarily beat great teams. They haven't won convincingly. They're only clutching it out in late-game team fights. And this game, they got steamrolled
They didn't get to late-game
by
team
Cloud9,
fights.
and they got completely stopped from doing it. So I think, yeah, Cloud9 proved that they are much better than Clutch here.
Right, that said, we did have a couple strange, interesting picks for Clutch this time around. The Morgana coming through, of course, for Hakuho, which was talked about a bit. And then the Lee Sin for Lyra. I mean, to some degree, this makes sense for me as Lyra has really only shown us a bunch on Skarner, and we're still kind of searching for what are the other picks for him this season that'll let him create advantages for the rest of his team.
I mean, that's the whole point of why we were critical of this team is like, well, what happens when Lyra doesn't get Skarner? He plays Lee Sin, does one or two things over the course of the game, but is largely ineffective. The Morgana pick with the Varus is a very lane-focused pick. They did not really capitalize on that during the first 15 minutes of the game. Later on, they found pickoffs with that combination, which is still good at, but they didn't beat that enemy lane quite like they should have. And so as the top side went horribly wrong, Corki's farming in the mid lane because that's what Corki does. They didn't have any serious pressure points for Lee Sin.
I mean, that's about the story of the game, right? You put a lot of resources top, you let that Kled start rolling, C9 picks up the win. To hear more about that win, let's send it over to Avli and C9's Stoneweaver in the mid lane.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Jensen. Congratulations on that win. We actually got to see you on Talia today against the Corki. Tell me, what was the decision-making behind picking?
It was mainly just because yesterday I played the Corki, which is not really a pressure pick, so we thought maybe if we pick something that has more like pressure in the early stages of the game, we could like do a lot more in the early game. And yeah, we just thought we just changed it up a little bit, so we had a bit more of a pressure pick in the mid lane this time.
Now, I've been picking the brains of all the mid laners so far, and I want to pick yours on 8.4, the patch that was just implemented this week. We have a lot of mid lane and AP items changing. What are your general thoughts?
So far, it seems like champions that can go tier into Rod of Ages are a lot stronger now because you don't have to build Morello at the same time anymore. So it feels a lot nicer for those type of champions, although I'm not really sure yet what to think because I haven't played too much on the new patch since we've also been scrimming on the old one. But so far, it looks pretty good, and I like it so far.
I've been asking everyone, what crazy champion do you think is going to pop up because of this?
It's Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger for sure, yeah.
I really want to see you play him now, but today, NALCS Countdown, both Jat and Mark listed you as their #1 mid laner in their tier list. If you're #1, who's 2 and 3?
I'd say definitely Phoenix, #2. I think #3 is kind of up in the air, I think. I think a lot of the mid laners are pretty even. You know, some have better strengths and different weaknesses. So I think the third one's hard to pick, but I think Phoenix is playing really well so far, at least individually. But yeah, I don't know who to put third, honestly.
What mid laner do you want to go up against? Maybe prove yourself.
I don't know. No one in NA, really. I just want to play against like some international mid laners.
Perfect. Well, I hope you get to play against them in the future. Thank you so much. And to wrap up the day, back to the analyst desk.
He doesn't have to prove himself. He's #1. He's already done it.
Yeah,
He's got to look international.
You got to punch up. So he's
Right.
trying to get up to international competition.
Break that ceiling, man. Break it. Also, I'm going to hold him to that Heimerdinger. I swear, if I don't see a Heimer pick by the end of the split, I'll be sorely
Said,
disappointed.
like, no AP champion, just like
Zed.
yeah, Zed. Yeah, great AP itemization change.
That would have been great.
Would love to see
Zed,
Zed.
tier, first item, right?
Yeah.
He's got to have some. No AP scaling? Oh,
Yeah.
well. All right, let's take a look at how everyone's favorite analyst, Joel, did today in the predictions.
I was sweating, man.
And pretty well, though, if we're being honest.
yeah, all of us went 3 and 2.
3 and 2.
3 out of
3
5.
and 2.
If I would
You
not,
guys got saved by Cloud9 here at the end of the day.
I got
Saved.
so hypey about that Team Liquid draft when I was clearly in Echo Fox's favor. When I prepped the draft, I'm like, there's no way Team
Yeah.
Liquid wins this draft. And then I felt like they did, so I was like, that means they can win the game, right?
Hey, you played yourself.
And I flip-flop, never
Played
flip-flop.
yourself.
Never.
Yeah. I listened to my
Never.
gut, FlyQuest, then picked an all poke comp, and I hated it.
So 3 and 2, not awful.
Yeah.
But here's one thing I bet you didn't predict. The average game time of the day. 30 minutes and 5 seconds. Across all 5 games, that's the average. That is insanity.
It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, I know.
Compared to...
Did everyone have like
I think
something
the
going on?
sun's still out.
Is there some Sunday event? Was there like a
All the pros agreed. They made some kind of weird agreement.
Yeah.
They all
I
got
think
a
it's-
birthday party to get to.
I think it's super interesting, too, because
KBBQ.
we're just, like a patch removed from the game being like 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. And then all that happened from like a patching perspective was the stopwatch and free boots are on a different mastery tier. Like
you can't take both.
The changes to speed up the game are actually hitting next patch.
That's what I was going to say. The neutral buff changes to end the game faster. Like, we might not even see them.
23-minute average game time next week.
I don't know, man.
I like to see bloody games, man. That's all I want is fighting left and right.
Well, it is a season trend, just always at the start, everyone's uncoordinated and slow about finishing games, and then it trends downward no matter what the meta changes seem to be. So no surprise it's getting faster, but 30 is quite the jump.
Today was a bit of an aberration, I think, but it was fun.
When you have Echo Fox closing a game in 22 minutes, yes, it's a somewhat of an aberration that we average 30 minutes on the day. Either way, a very quick one, a very exciting one at that. While everyone tried to style on their opponents this week, and only a select few can be a part of the OP5. So for week 6, it's Licorice, Meteos, Spirixon, Sven, and Afromu. Up first, we've got Licorice in the top lane for C9.
Not too much of a surprise after that last game on the Kled pick. Only guy playing it, and it was very close, but he shows that he is comfortable on the champion, able to survive at just barely any health, constantly getting the remount. And then once he got the lead with the help with Sven, completely ran away with this game.
Yeah, and I think that was the difference. It's like getting the first few kills. A lot of top laners can get started with 1 or 2 kills early. It's about what you're able to do afterwards. And that was his best game. The previous game wasn't that amazing, but the rest of the top laners also didn't have super standout weeks. So this game for Licorice did it.
Tough position to call for sure. Moving on to the jungle, we find 100 Thieves Meteos.
And he was one of the critical components of the 100 Thieves wins this weekend. The comrade Afromu getting the other one. The two of them combined together to pull off some sick plays like that one there. The Thresh hook into the Lantern pull, and then they started working together to gank these bot lane that was pretty volatile for FlyQuest. So Meteos and Afromu, when they link up early on in some way, it always feels like that's where their wins come from, and maybe some of those super late game situations where Meteos finds a smite or Afro finds that one pick off.
All right, we move to the mid lane. We find Bjergsen on the back end of a 2-0 week.
Man, finally had a good week, I feel like, because he had much more map pressure this week. He was able to affect the side lanes much more importantly. So when he did have a small advantage in lane, he was able to move out of it and really have a large influence over these games.
I mean, in a sense, this was the TSM in week 6 that we were kind of expecting to see around week 3, right? Like, it just took him a bit longer to get there.
Yeah, and it was kind of what we expected, where we're saying, okay, they're winning all 3 lanes. This is great. But then, like Jat said, they actually went on the map and did things together to blow these games open. Bjergsen, especially in that Gala game, his team was kind of dying all over the place, and he was the one constant, like, guys, what are you doing? And he started getting kills all over the place.
All right, we move to the AD carry position. TSM Sven will join Bjergsen in the OP5.
And they won bot lane pretty hard, especially today. They broke that open on their own and started moving around the map. It's a huge reason they were able to walk away with the 2-0.
He's been having some solid weeks, right? It's just the fact that you're never going to get OP5 as an AD carry if your team doesn't come together well for fights.
Right.
Like, it's just not, wow, he was up like, and he took the turret, wow, and then they lost. But he actually did take the turret, and then they won. So he did it.
Yay!
Good job.
All right, finally we have 100 Thieves, Afromu, the hook guy.
Oh yeah, 2 games in a row on Hook Champion. Starts out with Thresh. It's absolutely disgusting. So FlyQuest is like, yeah, we'll ban that right away. And then he breaks out the Blitzcrank and has the same effect on the game. Pretty much hard carried his team to victory with playmaking.
Thresh Blitz, that's a classic champion pool when literally everyone else is doing Alistair, Tom Kench, Tarek.
Well, he probably wouldn't have chose Blitz if any of those were picked on the other team. But when you throw Janna out in front of him, I feel like Blitz is the easy go-to.
I'm still going to hook champs. He's good at hook champs.
If we could just design a few more, that way he can't be banned out. And we always get an Afromu hook champ. That'd be a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, sure. Nautilus is still up. Let's get that one next.
Nautilus support, man.
As soon as you can make a defensive hook champ, we'll see more of a very defensive hook
What, where you hook your teammate and throw him in?
Yeah,
kind
throw
of
him backwards, I think.
I guess that doesn't really, that already happened. Throughout the weekend, you took to Twitter to praise the jaw-dropping moments, and we've decided to pull a few of our favorite big plays, brought to you by Acer Predator. First up, Sapphire DT recognized that while Echo Fox may have been losing, Huni is still an absolute demon. Take a look.
Oh, I actually think, Zuni's going to get caught out here. We can go back to that afterwards. Zuni getting jumped on, tries to outplay it and does. But Echo Fox has lost so many. Huni alone cannot save this fight. He grabs the kill into Mithy. He grabs the kill now, the double into Haunter. The saving grace of Echo Fox right now in the top lane.
That didn't even include his solo kill on Sven later in the game when his team is down a ton of gold. Like, Huni was 1v9ing that game.
I was about to say, when you're making such big plays that you're forcing the observers to choose between you and the rest of the fight. Yeah. You saw that? Just that. Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it.
Pressure
Next.
black hole and the camera black hole.
Yeah, what do I do? Do I do this or watch this really impressive thing? Okay, next we try, try as they might. FlyQuest just couldn't take down 100 Thieves top laner as he makes the great escape.
Of 100 Thieves. Well, someday.
Oh, caught it in his teeth. Up 1-0. Oh, he just dodged it as well.
That angle made it look even closer.
Such a cool camera angle. The spear's coming straight at you.
Pretty sure
we all dodged.
Hit his tail, just doesn't have a hitbox.
I was expecting him to juke the other way.
Right.
I didn't think to juke left there, and I was very surprised the spear didn't hit.
He got out by the skin of his chinny chin chin. Finally, Bjergsen and Hanser made H Wonders proud with their insane 2v4 against Optic today.
Very minions come up. They'll be able to slalom in and out of these minions and use them as defense. Arrow very low. Acadian tries to put himself in between as the meat wall. Doesn't want that damage to come through. The tankiest person goes down first, and here goes the rest of them. It's going to be a lot of damage on the Power of Evil. Hanser looks to lock this one down for himself, and he just pounces on his target.
Okay, buy time, guys, buy time. Keep buying time, keep buying time.
Just kill him. I
can come. Yeah, just play with the mindset.
Yeah, my chance OP.
Did not expect the TSM chant at the end. That's actually, Bjergsen had bought a death cap at that point in the game before Void Staff, which you see a lot of Rises do. And the reason is the power of the shields when you're spamming your combos are more greatly affected by the AP. So he had the Seraph shield and his shield from his spell flux up at the same time was like half of his health bar, making him
How much scarier does that get on 8.4 with tier items being
Rise is banned.
Strong.
Actually.
Get ready for the Victor shields then. Those are coming too.
Yeah,
Iceborne Goblin, Abyssal Mass Victor?
They're not going to do it.
Is it time, Jet? I hope it's time. Make sure you keep tweeting your favorite plays so we can relive the best parts of every weekend. Time now for us to throw it over to Freak, Kobe, and Azael, though, for NALCS tonight, where they'll review this week's games, answer some fan tweets, and look toward next week's matchups. Good night.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to NALCS tonight. My name is Freak. That is Kobe. That is Azael.
Nope. Okay. I feel like it should be NALCS today.
NALCS today. It is
fast day. Yeah.
4:30 p.m. on the Pacific time zone. How's your afternoons doing?
My afternoon is splendid now that you correctly identified that it is in the middle of the day.
It's true.
I'm going to give you credit here. Azael's being a bit of a stickler.
I appreciate you, Kobe. All right, you're on my side for this one. I appreciate that one very much. Welcome, of course, once again. We're going to pull up the standings first, stop to see how this week shaped up, where all the teams sit in the top 10. Echo Fox still in first. One game behind them is Cloud9. 100 Thieves and Clutch in, I guess, third/fourth/fifth with Team Liquid. The order is out of order, though. Where is number 4 for Liquid? They're got to be up above Clutch Gaming for that one. It's okay. They're trying.
They are trying, and TSM, has a 2-0 week, so they are now kind of in the playoff picture, sitting in 6th. That is definitely good news for them.
Yeah.
To be back on an upward trend.
And they're 2 games up from 7th with only 6 to play. Week 7, 8, and 9 are up left, so they've got to really fall behind someone else if they're going to lose out in the playoff race, and it's solidifying at this point. Do want to point out, here's the standings. Remember them in your minds right now because we've got predictions from the preseason. Jat had CLG at first. He forgot a 0 by the 1 as where CLG stands. But I see both of you have Echo Fox at 7th, so explain yourselves.
So, all I'm really seeing is me with Clutch pretty high in the standings, 4th place. Right now, they're right in there, so.
But you had them above Cloud9, who just slammed them. So how about that? You're wrong.
Well, I see Kobe here at Cloud9. The same spot there.
No, above you. One above you.
Yeah.
Check your eyeballs, check too.
Yep. I mean, it's definitely, it's been an exciting season, and I think I'm kind of glad to be wrong in a lot of cases because things have not been as predictable. I think part of that is best of ones being so volatile, and also it is certainly some of the teams just underperforming or some teams overperforming or whatever you want to call it, right? I mean, TSM pretty far below where everyone was expecting them. CLG, turns out they're just not that good, at least at this split. I mean, they're really playing poorly, right? And every one of us had them pretty highly. Like, we had them 3rd, Jat had them 1st, and they're tied for last.
Yeah, also, a lot of the Echo Fox people, placing them, most people in the bottom half of the standings was contingent upon everyone's like, okay, these are some very volatile personalities. They all have histories of changing teams or, not working well with some coach or some player or something like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the placement was, not sure, but everyone recognized the power of the players, right?
Yeah.
The strength of the players. And clearly, even after week 1, I was like, okay, I'm ready to buy the Echo Fox stock.
Yeah.
And I was on board because of how well they actually have been able to play together. They've been able to be organized. So I think a lot of people would say that the early low placements have been kind of disproven, and then you can kind of judge based on
And these
the
were all
strength of
from
the
before
players.
any of the games had
Of
been
course,
played.
exactly.
This is all preseason stuff. But yeah, I agree. I mean, the highs are so high for this team, and as long as Echo Fox works well as a team, their individual players are monsters, and that's why they're first.
It's actually something that I overheard both Jack of Cloud9 and Rick Fox of Echo Fox were talking about players, and they were happy about the franchise system coming in because they got to take risks on players. Like Cloud9's like, yeah, we brought in Licorice, we brought in a rookie, and we took the risk because we're not going to get relegated. We can bring this guy in.
Yeah.
And Rick Fox is like,
looking pretty smart now.
And Rick Fox was like well aware of the chance of the team blowing up. Echo Fox is like, yeah, I'll take the risk, and it worked out though. The personalities have balanced one another, and the team is doing really well. So those risks paid off, and it's cool to see, right? So glad to see risks coming through pretty nicely for them. Let's talk about other teams that have done well. TSM at a 2-0 week. 2-0 week for TSM, games ahead of the playoff spot right now, including the fact that they freaking beat Echo Fox.
And you have to give them some credit for taking down the first place team in the league. But this one was a bit weird to me to watch because there's a lot of questions about the Echo Fox draft. I think Phoenix had by far his worst individual game of the split as well. So it leaves me almost in a situation where people were kind of feeling about Clutch, like how good is TSM now? Yes, they beat Echo Fox, but then they also beat Optic. And Echo Fox wasn't at their best. Are they amazing? Is everything great? I don't really know.
Yeah, I think that you can say that we saw definite improvements from TSM. So everyone, all the TSM fans will be very happy about that. As far as, the game specifically against Echo Fox, there were a lot of holes to kind of poke in the Echo Fox side. For me, it actually wasn't even about draft as much as everyone else's. And it was so much about the decision-making later in the game. Because even still, at the beginning of the game, I was really impressed, with Dardock's, tracking of the enemy jungler and how they were playing, all these lanes. And they did have these more unique encounter picks that they had come up with. But then the mid-game decision-making and the choosing the fights and
failing
playing
to play
around
around
globals,
Galio.
a lot of those seemed like they were very good on a lot of advanced things. But then some of the more basic, just team coordinating around globals came to really bite them in the butt.
Yeah, definitely the case. But anyway, we'll find out more as the season goes on, right? TSM is in a good spot. And at the end of the day, whether you finish in first or not, if you are the best team, it doesn't matter because if you get into playoffs, you have a chance to win, right? So for them, they will not be able to catch Echo Fox in the standings, but they can try to continue improving. And if they can get there, they can get there.
Right, we've seen the TSM 6th place in the finals run before, right? It's happened before. So next up, other teams that went 2-0 maybe some surprise, 100 Thieves. A 2-0 run as well. Honestly, a solid week for these guys that were
Afro is back.
Yeah, he is.
My goodness, that is the first thing out of my mouth there after even the first game they played where he was on Thresh. The hooks were insane because I was looking at this team comp and I was like, oh my God, they got Skarner, they got Galio, and they got Gangplank. Those are all massive power picks in the current meta, but maybe the one thing you'd be like, oh, well, they don't have the great engage to combo with the Galio. Doesn't matter. Afromu is just getting hook after hook after hook. He is the engage on the skill shot champion. Then he gets a Blitzcrank into Janna pick. Goes off once again. So, I mean, it's just so fun. Seeing a legacy player like this perform on those exciting champions just makes you to love this team, right? They have so many good personalities as well as the play to back it up.
Yeah, and I mean, even last week, his Bard play was really good against CLG. He's been playing a lot of these champions that other players have been afraid to pick, and that's one of the most interesting things about it to me is Afromu is a guy who has kind of made his career as a support player on playmakers, right? He's so famous for playing these aggressive champions, for pulling off the skill shots, for hitting the hooks and winning games off of it. And there's very few players, it seems, in the league that are willing to actually, kind of step outside the meta right now in support, but also in other roles. It's almost exclusively, these are the 4 tanks that you can pick from. You got Tahm Kench, you got Taric, you got Braum, you got Alistar. That's what you choose from. Okay. And
Janna also stepped out of
that
one was a little bit
stepped into some hooks out of the meta, right?
I think there was some poor play involved in there. Not very many flashes used by Turtle or Stunt to actually avoid hooks. But by the way, I mean, he has the confidence to actually make these picks work. And I think that sometimes it can be such a boon to your team because
because if you're lacking engage, if you're lacking, a way to actually find fights, having a player who is not only confident on this, but it fills a role that the support champions don't otherwise bring, it can be pretty powerful. And I think more players should be kind of confident to experiment with that. Like Licorice is another great example. I mean, popping off on Kled, right? Yeah. No one else is playing it.
Yep. And I am on your side in terms of yeah, I know, right? I am on your side in terms of I think people should innovate more, but we have seen a lot of it fail.
Yep.
All the Fiora mids have lost so far, right? Like the Volution top that Licorice brought out, right? He ended up just getting super punished by Dark Gank, so it can fail, of course, but I agree with you. I want to see more stuff come out.
Zillion support.
Yeah, there were some Zillion mids. Those lost kind of a fair bit. But one other match I want to talk about as we kind of go through the recap of the day. Cloud9 versus Clutch Gaming was our last of the day, and the question coming in was, okay, if Clutch beat this team, can they be considered a truly great team? Of course they didn't, and we talked about Licorice a second ago. Did pretty well this game.
Yeah, Licorice did amazingly. I thought that he controlled the lane.
I know that feeling. I played against Kled before as a tank.
Yep. We were talking about all the different forms that will result in that eye roll in League of Legends, and there's actually quite a few, depending on what role you play. But I actually had a very big spotlight on Lyra this game. Especially the analyst desk kept pointing out that he had only performed really well on the Skarner, and they'd only been winning games when he was on Skarner. And he got banned out. They actually banned Skarner, and then there were more jungle bans that came through, and he went with the Lee Sin. Didn't accomplish anything in the early game with Lee Sin, and that is, especially when you're going against Sejuani, whether that is a draft failure or player failure as well, that is a cardinal sin, and that is just a smashing when they have a volatile top lane like that, and the Sejuani is the one there for the critical moments when Kled is remounting and stuff. That is why that game was just blown out of the water.
To play devil's advocate a bit earlier, I think yesterday he did actually play Sejuani, because I remember they actually banned out the Skarner themselves, and they were able to win. So I still do want to give him a little bit more time and see, hey, can he continually perform on these other champions? But today, he definitely wasn't able to kind of check the box on Lee Sin. And it's rough, though, because of how volatile that matchup. When you're playing a tank into Kled, you have to be able to deal a certain amount of damage to kill him before he can remount. And if you can't do that, you cannot beat this champion, right? And
who does damage? Lee Sin!
Yeah, Lee Sin does do damage. But I mean, look at the solo versus the 1v1, where he remounts, where he's ignited. He remounts with 10 HP. If you actually get that kill, Kled can fall behind. It can look completely the opposite. So that's how volatile it was, and Licorice played it incredibly well. I also think is a little bit of variance.
Even close, baby.
Involved in that, too.
All right, let's redirect to a more playoff-focused topic. I think our top 6 are almost for sure locked in, right? 6 is 2 games above 7th,
the 7th
right?
spot
with 6 to play. So, do you think? So, first of all, do you think the top 6 is way more likely than not just going to be in the top 6?
Yeah, of course.
Down to TSM.
Yeah.
Way more likely than not, certainly. Yeah. But is there a chance that teams could drop out? Yes, I still think that if FlyQuest could actually pull things together, they are the team that's 2 games back. I still think there's a possibility there, and you have to look a lot at strength of schedule.
So real quick then, we have strength of schedule. Of course, Clutch Gaming have several opponents coming up very soon. They're one of the ones that we're kind of looking at as that 4th, 5th sort of area for them. And if they're one of the teams that might drop out, you mentioned FlyQuest probably being the sweetheart for the ones to maybe come up out of 7th and take these teams out. But you're seeing, some difficult and some very important matches coming in for Clutch. They're going to play Fly themselves, for example, next week.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, these are really important matchups, and it's really important to be looking at strength of schedule towards the end of the split. Talking about Echo Fox, who is actually sitting in 1st place right now.
Yeah.
The 2 toughest teams that they have to play left is Clutch and 100 Thieves. They've already played TSM, C9, and TL in the second half, and they're already in 1st. To me, it feels like Echo Fox basically has 1st place locked up, and just based on strength of schedule, which is really, really impressive when you look at how good their record is right now. So it's going to be, maybe a bit of an easier ride for them, but some of these teams are going to be really tough.
Yeah, I think Echo Fox is for sure the team to beat right now, right?
Yep.
I mean, they're kind of slotted into the 1st spot, and Hooney's got his eyes on that North American LCS championship.
So the question is, will Echo Fox win Worlds?
Yes
and yes. Okay, that's the great one. All right, on to the next set of cards. That was the final question on that one. I'm glad we got the answer. 8.4 is already on live for all of us at home who've been playing League of Legends, and it's coming into the North American and European Pro scene next week.
That's
we
true.
all got pulled what we want to talk about. Kobe, we're going to start with you. You want to talk about Archangel Staff. in the tier builds.
You were supposed to give me
Spoilers,
the moment.
bro. All right,
I'm
just
supposed
kidding.
to get to
Forget
say
what
it.
I said. Erase your memory. Kobe, what do you want to talk about in 8.4, dog?
I'm actually going to talk about Seraph's Embrace.
Oh,
not
okay.
Archangels.
That is surprising.
See, because this
normally
says
you talk
Archangel
about
stuff
Tracker's
right
Knife
here.
Being a jungler.
Just saying.
Yeah, so the jungler ones would be Tracker's Knife or Volibear, but I really do think that one of the biggest changes is going to be for the mid lane. Seraph's Embrace is insane right now. There's more flat mana on it, 400 more, as well as 20% cooldown reduction, so people spamming their spells to stack that up. Ryze, Cassiopeia, Victor, anybody that has things that scale off of mana are going to be insane. So I think that Ryze is actually going to be permabanned now because, as we saw today, people are still even first round picking it, blind picking him. And this is before one of his main items is supremely buffed.
I mean, Jensen just was talking about it in the interview with Avali. He thinks anything that builds essentially tier plus Roa is now going to be the
best
top
champion in the
champions, right? And I tend to agree. I mean, like he said, you don't have to build a Morello anymore. CDR is such an important stat, and now the core items for these champions, you don't have to go back and build something else. You just get it in your core too. So like you said, Cassio and Ryze are the two that stand out really big to me.
Plus, Death Cap with the giant bonus. Is this like the era of AP now?
High AP.
Is AP just
and
coming
Baron
through?
buff gives way more AP as well going
That's
into
true.
the late game. So you can already start complaining. Get your Reddit post ready.
What is really interesting, actually, is
on counters ready, Mundo.
Yeah, there you go. On that topic, though, as far as the math is concerned, all right, shut up, both of you. Is champions that have
Show now, Kobe. We can just ignore it.
that's fine. You wanna?
Yeah,
I'll just take
monkey
this
over
off.
here just-
Yeah. That's not a monkey sound. I became a parrot or something.
I don't even know.
It's not going downhill.
I'm
like
sure there
career.
is a monkey that makes that noise. 'Cause they make a lot of.
Yeah.
It's this
That's good.
one right here.
That's good.
All right. Continue now, freak.
All right. Any mage whose AP ratios are more than just damage, because they're going off the flat pen builds, you're always going Sork Shoes into Leandries and a Void Staff. And so if your build is now at 700 AP plus Death Cap, well, Cassiopeia loses off with AP, Ryze shields with AP, like all these champions that have non-damage AP ratios, they don't scale off Magic Pen, the builds have shifted and their utility relative has gone up. So I think it's a big deal. The thing I want to bring up is Tracker's Knife. It has been deleted, which means almost nothing for solo queue, because almost no one bought it anyway, but it means, generally speaking, more darkness in pro play. I'm of the opinion that we are at the too much vision point, so we're going back to the appropriate vision point. If the whole map went dark, I agree it'd be bad. I don't think we're there. I think we're at a more appropriate place for vision, and the game will be more exciting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to definitely agree. I do think people want to see conflict, right? People want to see these players who are the best in the world being able to like show off their mechanical prowess, to be fighting, to be playing these aggressive champions, and I think there's a higher chance of seeing that. There is some debate, though. Definitely I have seen some analysts and pros saying that, oh, you think this is going to create more aggression? They think it's going to create less aggression because they're saying these players will not be able to make the risky play. They won't do it without vision. If they don't have it, they won't make any play. I tend to disagree because I think if you just sit back in your own jungle and play with zero risk plays, you probably will give up too much to someone who is willing to say, pick a Kha'Zix with Red Smite and be more aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see the arguments. I know Meteos specifically has been super outspoken about vision removal is a really big way to actually start fights. People trying to go and clear wards, fighting them over those wards that they are clearing. So, having another form of that maybe in the game or something. My personal problem has always been with zombie wards since it was first, introduced.
Sure.
And it still is, but maybe this one is going to address the issue.
All right, and final topic you wanted to bring up for 8.4 you think is exciting?
I mean, I think it's kind of the elephant in the room. We haven't talked about the Baron and Elder changes. I think those are going to be really big. They're talking about the desk, how average game time generally for the split has been pretty long. Today, obviously, it was not. It was very, very fast. But, the Baron buff is going to be better essentially at knocking down turrets because the minions are stronger, the ranged minions are harder to kill, the cannon deals more damage. And then for Elder, the subsequent Elder buffs, if you take 2 Elder Dragons, it's going to be massively more powerful.
Yeah, that's already so late into the game, though. Think about how many, multiple Elders.
Elder is minimum 43 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's
it's
at
a way
little
to try
perfection.
to guarantee a closing of the game, right? That is how I see it. I see
So we don't get any more hour
long, nothing happens. You get Baron and nothing falls.
Jin Air just going for 6 hours or whatever.
Yeah, and it's going to be nice. It means that those hour-long games will have some kind of climax at 45 minutes, which I think is a really good change.
Exactly, and at the very least, you will be able to force your opponents to come out of their base and challenge for these objectives, right? I think that is the hope, is more points of conflict in the game, and I'm pretty excited for this patch because I think that not only are these changes, but there's so many champion changes. There's all the itemization changes. There's these systematic changes as far as the neutral objectives and the warding. So it's going to be kind of feeling like a bit like preseason, and I'm actually super, super excited for next week.
Season 8.5.
8.5. 8.5. It's going to be beautiful. All right, last thing we're going to talk about is next week's schedule. Week 7, there's only 6 games left to play in the regular season, and 2 of them are going to be, well, for each team, of course. 2 of them are going to be on your screen in a second there as we look at Week 7 schedule. And here it is. Team looking for Thunder Thieves, which, oddly enough, is actually a battle towards the top of the standings right here, and I think getting better seems to be pretty important there. Yeah, 100 Thieves have continued to impress, actually. This was a really good week for them, and TL's been a top 3 forever.
Yeah, TL's been a top 3 forever, you say, but recently the value there has been dropping a little bit, looking a little bit more wobbly. Impact specifically, then some of the communication issues, tracking enemy players hasn't been so crisp for them. So this match has gotten very interesting, especially considering the playmaking that Aphromoo has shown. To me, if there's a team, Team Liquid complaining about not being able to track people that well, Aphromoo, you got to keep tabs on that guy. If he's still playing, hook champions and playmakers and stuff, then I could very easily see this, being another one down that same vein.
And even just talking confidence, it feels like TL players, when you look at what they're saying on social media, when you look at some of the results of their games, they feel like it's on a downward trend, more towards that. And 100 Thieves is riding high, right? Like, Echo Fox just speed ran TL today. They're going to be feeling really bad, and we'll see if that confidence that 100 Thieves has kind of built up, especially with Aphromoo on playmakers and how well Meteos was playing, if that kind of carries over till next week.
I'm also intrigued by FlyQuest week. They have TSM second game of Saturday, and I believe it's Clutch for their Sunday game. Those are 2 of the teams they've got to beat and try to pass to make the playoff run. They're like that 7th team out right there as FlyQuest. We see if they can make that move. It's going to be fun to watch for. That's it for NALCS tonight. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you in a few days for NALCS next Saturday, of course, for Week 7. See you there.
What's the win condition? Tank jungle, camp mid lane.